Hi besties! Welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you're here because in today's video, we're gonna be talking about every book I read in 2024. I tracked 77 books on my Goodreads, but I think I've read like 100 books. I didn't track every single book I read because some of them were rereads and some of them were graphic novels, which is like manga and stuff like that. So we're gonna be reviewing every single book I read. I've never done that before. I'm super excited because it's been a year since I've read some of these books. So I'm just gonna pull up my Goodreads. Oh my gosh, I should do the analytics for my Goodreads. Let's see, myyearinbooks.com. Hold on. Obviously it's not gonna be accurate, but let's see. I've got it pulled up. In 2024 I read 77 books, which adds up to 30,119 pages and 51,202 minutes of reading. Oh my gosh. Alright, I read 28 genres, period. Though you read total of 77 books, you read the most in May with 20 books. What the 20 books? But yeah, that was cool to see all the numbers, but again, my Goodreads is not accurate because I'm not the best at tracking books. But I'm so excited to talk about all my favorite reads, so I'm actually pretty excited to do this video. But before we jump in the books, I want to quickly mention something that's been helping me level up my content recently, which is Skillshare. This video is sponsored by Skillshare, but honestly, I genuinely love it. Skillshare has been such a helpful tool to me, especially with my content creation, because I'm someone who's always learning new skills, especially when it comes to editing, because editing is always hard for me. But whether it's video editing, content creation, or even creative writing, if you want to write a book, Skillshare has something for everyone. But for those who might not know, Skillshare is the largest online community for creators, offering thousands of classes taught by industry experts in areas like film, illustration, design, and so much more. But for me, I've been exploring editing classes to help take my content creation to the next level and improve my videos for you guys. But Skillshare has amazing beginner-friendly classes. I'm excited about my Premiere Pro classes because I've been struggling so bad with this editing app. I find it a little bit more complicated. Skillshare has been helping my beginner self with Premiere Pro, which is honestly taking my editing skill to the next level. And I'm trying to incorporate new editing skills that I'm learning into every video. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I'm trying. So if you see my next video with a little bit more advanced editing, you know why. And here's the best part. 500 of you can get a free 1-month trial of Skillshare by using the link in my description. So if you ever want to learn something new, whether it's video editing, creative writing, or literally anything else, this is your chance to get started. Okay, now back to the books. I'm gonna start obviously with the first book I read in 2024 and then to my most recent reads. But if it's a series, I'm obviously gonna keep them together because it's just easier to talk about them that way. My camera's dying. Okay, the camera died. Okay, back to the books. I'm so excited to talk about all the books I read in 2024. Like, you don't even understand. So we're gonna kick things off with the first book I read / series, which is Crescent City. Let me pull up my Goodreads. I read the first book in January. I honestly love this book. This was the first read. This was the only book I read in January. At first, I remember like being really confused. I can't believe it's been a year since I read it. The world building is a bit confusing in this one. A lot of like terms that I didn't know, like fantasy terms, stuff like that, the usual, but yeah, this book was so good. I honestly don't even remember what happened. Yeah, I gave it 5 stars. I just remember her vacuuming. This world was so fun. Like, learning about it for the first time, it was so fun. The mystery aspect of it all, like, I was so hooked. Like, I wanted to know what happened to her friend, like where she went, and stuff like that, or what she was up to. Bryce was very likable in this book. And Hunt, I loved the romance in this one. And then I read House of Sky and Breath. This book I gave 4 stars. I didn't love it as much as I did the first one, but it was still really fun. And the ending of this book, oh my gosh, like, it had me shook like everybody else, but wow, that's the main thing I liked about this entire thing. I was kind of getting bored of the romance in this. Like, I felt disconnected from it. I didn't really like it anymore. I don't know what happened. The thing with me is that when the couples get together, like, I just lose interest in them right away. These books are thick. Like, I need a slower burn than that. They were already together in the beginning of this book, so, you know, whatever. But I do really like the side characters. Rune, I loved him. And I don't know if she was in this one, but Lydia, loved her. I think she was more in the third book, which is House of Flame and Shadow. This was the most disappointing book of the year, I think. After the ending of this, I was just so disappointed when I finished it. But first part though, like, was really fun. Like, where she ended up, I just remember being like, oh my gosh, like, I can't believe that's happening. And then like the middle till like almost the end of this book was like dragged out, and then everything happened all at once, like in the last 50 pages. That's usually how it goes in these books, but it was still really fun. I think I gave it like 3.5 stars. Actually, I think I rounded it to 4 stars, but it's more like 3.5 to be honest. My favorite was definitely the first part of this book and the whole thing with Rune, Lydia, and stuff. Lydia was the star of the show. Like, she carried this book on her back, to be honest. But I really like the multiverse that's going on. Like, that is like my favorite thing. Like, you just have to be there. You have to be there. You know, if you read all the other series, like, you have to read the series. Like, if you read ACOTAR and Throne of Glass, like, this series is a must read. That's probably my favorite thing about this series, to be honest. How it connects everything. So yeah, I'm gonna try to like quickly talk about the books. I don't want to miss anything, but I also don't want this video to be way too long. I'm just gonna give you a quick 1-2, okay? I'm gonna give you my rating and what I thought about the book. I'm trying to make it fast. This is another series I read in the beginning of the year. If you've been following me since the beginning, I posted about this series non-stop on my TikTok. Like, I would not shut the fuck up about it. Even now, I don't stop talking about it, and it has become one of my favorite series, and it is the Magnolia Park series by Jessa Hastings. Guys, I literally will start crying every time I talk about this book. I already talked about it in my last one, a little bit, but I can't even tell you how much I love this book series. Like, I love the characters, the found family, everything about this series. I love Jessa Hastings. I love her writing, her words. She is the queen of metaphors, okay? Like, every time I see a quote, I will start crying. Like, I have never loved anybody's words so much. I'm like, this honestly, I can't even talk about it. Like, every single book is actually everything to me. I annotated every single one of these books. I don't know if you can see it. They're tabbed. First book was not my favorite. I give it 4 stars. These two are my lowest rated ones. They're both 4 stars. The first one, and then Daisy Hates, the first Daisy Hates book. But I still love them. Like, they're still my top reads of the year. And then these 3 are absolutely everything to me. Magnolia Park's The Long Way Home, 4.5 stars. Daisy Hates The Great Undoing, 5 stars. Magnolia Park's Into the Dark, 5 stars. The Great Undoing is probably my favorite though. I love Julian Hates. That is my man. I love him. I love him so much. I also love Christian and Daisy. I also love Magnolia. I love everybody. I love all the characters. If you haven't read the series, you need to read it. Honestly, what are you doing? If you didn't like the first book, just keep going. It gets better, I swear. I swear. If you know what it's about, it's kind of like Gossip Girl, but in the UK. It talks about love, heartbreak. It is a little bit toxic. It's fun. It's fun to read. It was so addicting to read. Basically, it's about a group of social elites. They're like popular, they're rich, and they're all childhood best friends. And the main couple, Magnolia and BJ, they're basically like soulmates. Like, they belong together. But things happened that just kept them apart from each other. They were childhood sweethearts. Something happened and they broke up. And everyone knows that they should be together, but they can't figure it out because they're both just doing things to hurt each other. And it is absolutely beautifully heartbreaking to read. The last book is Magnolia and BJ's last book, and it was absolutely the perfect conclusion to their story. I'll miss them forever. And I'll probably reread this entire series, to be honest. And I'm so excited for Daisy's book and Julian's and Christian's. They're just, I love them. I just cannot wait. But yeah, I need to shut up about this series. And then I didn't read this back to back, but I did finish the Brutal Birthright series by Sophie Lark. This is a Mafia interconnected series. It's very light on the Mafia. It is a dark romance, but it's not really too dark. I'm just gonna give you my rating for each book. The Brutal Prince is Callum and Ada's book. It is a marriage of convenience, arranged marriage type of deal to like merge an alliance with like a family rival. It was kind of funny. They hate each other. Before their wedding, she finds out that he's allergic to strawberries. The day of her wedding, she ate a bunch of strawberries, so when he had to kiss her, he like had an allergic reaction and he almost died. So she was trying to kill him, but it was really funny. This is probably my favorite one. I gave this 4 stars, I think. And then the second book is Stolen Heir. This one is Nessa and Mikolai's book. This one's a little darker. He's like the leader of like another rival gang in Chicago, and he kidnaps Callum's little sister and holds her captive. It was kind of short. Oh, and the thing about these series is that they have illustrations, like fan art, which is pretty cool. But yeah, this one I think I gave 2 stars. It wasn't my favorite. The third book is Savage Lover. This one was cute. I like this one. This one's Camille and Nero's story, and he's like into cars and she's into cars, and they're like kind of like pretty similar. I don't really remember what this is about. I just remember they're both being into cars, and he like raised cars and she operates like a garage where she fixes up cars. I don't know, but yeah, this one wasn't bad. I think I gave this one like 3.5 stars. The fourth book was Bloody Heart. This one, oh my god, I remember this one being sad. Like I was like, what the fuck? But this one was Dante's and Simone's book. It's kind of like a second chance romance, and I usually don't like those. I don't know why, but this one was really good. It was sad. It was heartbreaking. Like that's what I remember, because he's part of the gang and she's like a model, and her parents are like these like rich snobby parents, and they disapproved of him because he was part of a gang. But they still got together, but she like got scared because he's like part of this dangerous family. And then the fifth book, Broken Vow, I give this one 3 stars. I remember this one being crazy. It's a reverse Grumpy and Sunshine trope where she's like the grumpy one. She's rude and mean and nasty to him. He's like her bodyguard. Her life's in danger because of her family, so her brother hires a bodyguard for her and she hates him. He's like this rancher, cowboy, soldier turned bodyguard, and she's like a lawyer. This is a lot, okay? This is a lot, but I still liked it. And they go to like his ranch, and it's kind of like a small town romance, so it's kind of fun. And then the last book is Heavy Crown. This is Sebastian's and Yelena's book. I remember not really being into this one. I give this one 3 stars again. There was like a plot twist right in the middle of this book. Crazy. This is another like marriage kind of like alliance book. There was like a plot twist in the middle, because you know like when they get too early in the book and you kind of know like something is gonna happen that's not gonna go right. Yeah, that happens in this book. It's like enemies to lovers, lovers to enemies to lovers again. So it's kind of like that. He like ends up hating her in the middle of this book. But yeah, that was the Brutal Birthright series. Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm talking way too much about these books. And then I read Hooked by Emily McIntyre. This is part of the Never After series. I remember not liking this book. Like it was okay. I still gave it like 3 stars. It's a like Peter Pan retelling, but not like a literal retelling. It's kind of like in a modern world. It's kind of like Peter Pan, but Hooked is like the main character and Wendy is like the FMC, and it's a dark romance. Like he's the villain and he's bad. Understand the villain a little bit more because he's the main character in this one. Didn't really enjoy this one as much. It's not bad, but I wouldn't read it again. And then, oh, this is fun. I don't know if you guys remember, but my Ana Huang era happened in 2024. So I read the entire Twisted series and King of Sin series. I picked up Twisted Love because I was in a reading slump and I just didn't know what to read. And might as well pick up something that has been on my shelf for years. So I picked it up. You know what? It got me out of my reading slump. Like, I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would. It is, honestly, I think people hype it up way too much, but I get why people love it. I do. I don't get the Alex hype, honestly, but yeah, I think I give this 2 stars. I do like Ava though. She's cute. I love her. This one was okay. And then Twisted Games was so good. I love the slow burn. I love Bridget and Reese. She's like a freaking princess and he's the bodyguard. Like, yeah, of course I'm gonna eat that up. I think I give this one 3.5 stars, which sounds low, but honestly guys, my rating scale, I should have told you in the beginning, but 1 star, like, hate it. I wish I never read it. 2 star, not for me, but I could see why people love it. 3 stars, it was good. Nothing extraordinary, it was good. 4 stars, love this book. I would recommend it. And 5 stars, like, perfect. My favorite book. Like, we'll never stop talking about it. Yeah, I don't give out 5 stars often, which is why there's a lot of 3 and 4 stars in this pile. But yeah, this was a 3.5, I think. And then Twisted Hate this book. I'm just kidding. I like the characters. I do. I just didn't like the plot. I don't know why. I love Jules and Josh, to be honest. I just didn't like their book. And there was this one scene that ruined everything for me. If you know, you know. And then this is my favorite one, which is Twisted Lies. This is fake dating. It's a boy obsessed trope. It reminds me of The Maddest Obsession. If you've read that one, it's very similar. But yeah, I love Stella and Christian Harper. He's my favorite Twisted man for sure. I give this one 4 stars. Pretty high. And I kept going with the entire Ana Huang universe because I read the entire King of Sin series. I hate how the spines don't match, but it's fine. We're gonna look past that. I read King of Wrath. This is my favorite one in the series. You know why? Because it has a marriage of convenience trope, arranged marriage type of deal. Her dad, like, blackmailed him to marry her, basically, and it was delicious. It was addicting. If you guys don't know, marriage of convenience, arranged marriage, will be my favorite trope. There's like a bunch of books that I've read that were marriage of convenience trope. Like, this is my favorite palate cleanser. You know what I mean? Like it's so easy. It's addicting to read. I love it because the couples are kind of like dating backwards. Like, they get married first for a reason, like benefiting somebody, making an alliance between families, or like faking the marriage for somebody's benefit, for their parents, you know, all the good stuff, and they end up getting married. Yeah, it's like dating backwards. Like, they get married first, and then usually their first kiss will happen at the wedding, and it's like they like don't even know each other, and usually they hate each other, and they have to put up a front in front of everybody because they're married. It's all fun. And then she'll move into his place, bring all her stuff, and they'll have to like figure out how to live together before they even have a real relationship. It's addicting. They like won't even like each other till the end of the book, and maybe have like a 3rd act breakup, and she'll like divorce him or something, and then the embassy will be alone in his house again, and he's like seeing her stuff still there. It's just good. And the ring too, like, it's glorious. It's like my favorite plot to read. Like, yeah, most of the time they're like carbon copy of each other, but honestly, I'll still eat it up. I'll read like 30 of them, not back to back. I'll get sick of it, but they're like the perfect palate cleanser. Like, I gravitate towards that trope most of the time. So if you see a lot of marriage of convenience trope, arranged marriage, fake dating in this pile, that is why. They're just like the same plot with different characters, just different words most of the time. But yeah, back to this book. It has that trope, and I ate it up. what do you want from me? Like, that's why I loved it. Oh, did I mention they're all like interconnected? You don't have to read the entire series, but I highly recommend it. But this is the second book, King of Pride. This is Isabella and Kai's book. I like this one. This is not everyone's favorite, but I personally loved it. She's like a struggling writer and he's like a billionaire and for some reason infatuated by her. It's like Grumpy and Sunshine. He's the grumpy one, obviously. She's funny. They're like complete opposites, basically. But he's like infatuated by her. Basically another boy obsessed trope, and I ate it up. I read all of these books in one sitting. All of them. They're just like so easy to read. Like all her books, I think. And then I read the third book, King of Greed. This one was so freaking sad for no reason. Also one of my favorites, I think. So sad. This one is Dominic and Alessandra's book. They were married. The guy basically came from nothing and built like this like empire, and now he's a billionaire, and because of that their marriage suffered because he was always working. Basically he did everything for her but be there, and she filed a divorce. It was kind of sad, honestly, but I loved it. I ate it up. I think I gave this 4 stars as well. And then the fourth book, King of Sloth. This is Xavier's and Sloan. This is another reverse Grumpy and Sunshine trope. That is like one of my favorite tropes too. Where she's like the grumpy one. He's like famous and she's like his publicist, and he just gets into trouble, and she's like another ice queen basically. She has trouble talking about her feelings, but she has a lot of them, and he keeps flirting with her and stuff like that. So I ate this up. I thought I would like it more than I did, but it was still really fun. I think I give this 3.5 stars. This one I read more recently, The Striker. This is Asher and Scarlett's book. This is like Ana Huang's like first like sports romance. He's like a soccer player and she's like a ballerina. This is like her brother's rival type deal. I read this in one of my videos. I talk more about this on there, but I didn't really enjoy this book as much as I thought it would. I just didn't connect with the characters. It was kind of disappointing, and the romance just felt like it happened way too quick. And this book was really long, like 600 pages. I just feel like it could have been 300 pages shorter. So yeah, I think I gave this like 3 stars. That's being generous. Anyways, moving on. And then I read Powerless and Powerful. I read both of these in tandem, which is like reading them at the same time, because both of these books are happening at the exact same time. Both 5 stars in my opinion. I cried so hard reading these. Like, I don't even think you understand. I still think about these books like all the time. Reckless, I didn't love as much. It was still really good though. The ending was crazy. Honestly, love this series. One of my favorite reads of the year. And I read My Dark Romeo. I was looking for like a palette cleanser, and of course I picked up a marriage of convenience trope, where more like he forced her to marry him, blackmailed her into marrying him because she was gonna marry his like business rival, and he needed to get married. His parents were forcing him. This was a fun read. At the FMC, she's just like me. All she does is eat, sleep, repeat, wake up at noon. Like, she is just like me. She was funny. I think I gave this like 3 stars. There were some like cringy moments, but there's also other like moments that I loved. So yeah, I give this 3 stars. I don't have a physical copy of that book, but I also read the second book, which is My Dark Desire. It's kind of like a Cinderella retelling. He's like Romeo's friend. He's like another billionaire. It's like one of those things where he hated being touched, and his mom wanted him to get married, but he like cannot stand anybody touching him because of this thing that happened to him when he was a kid that traumatized the heck out of him. But she touched him and he had no like reaction to her touch, which is like a first for him. And he wanted to like fix himself, and he believes that she's the only one who can fix him, but he like doesn't like her, and she needs the money, so she starts working for him. It was okay. I think I gave it another 3 stars. There was like some cringy moments, which like just turns me off sometimes, but there were some like good moments, you know. I didn't hate it. And then I read Bride by Ali Hazelwood. This is another marriage of convenience trope, but she's a vampire and he's a werewolf. I haven't read a werewolf books since like my Wattpad era, like 10 years ago. So this was actually really fun though. It was so addicting to read. I read it in one sitting. Loved it. So good. I gave this one 5 stars. I love the characters, Misery and Low. I love the romance in it too. I hope Ali Hazelwood writes another book like this because, girl, this was like her first like fantasy book and she served so hard. And then I read the Played Prisoner series by Raven Kennedy. I ate this series up. It is a dark fantasy / romantasy series. It's like a King Midas retelling, but the main character is like the girl he turned into gold, and she's like kept in like a cage. The first book was a meh. It's like okay, it's like mid. Like the story didn't really start till like the second book, and when I tell you this book was so freaking good, like it was good. Like I ate it up. The ending of this book was crazy. Like I think I read the first 3 in like 3 days, to be honest. Like so freaking good. I'm currently in the middle of Glow, which is like the 4th book. Haven't picked it up in a while, but I want to finish this series because the first book I think I gave 3.5 or 4 stars. The second book I gave 4 stars, and then the third book I gave 5 stars. But yeah, I want to finish this series because it's honestly so freaking good. And the series just gets better after each book, so I do want to finish it. And then after that, I picked up Bound by Honor by Cora Riley. I just know it's another marriage of convenience. Oh, it is a Mafia romance. This one I did not enjoy as much. I thought it would because it's another marriage of convenience trope. But this one, I don't know what the heck happened, but I did not like it. I gave it a 1 star. I think it's because he like cheats on her. But yeah, didn't really like that one. I did read Bound by Hatred, which is like the 3rd book in this series. It's like a standalone interconnected series, so you don't have to read it in order. So I just read the 3rd book, which was like actually a little bit better than the first one. I still gave it like 2 stars. I don't know what it is. I thought I would like Cora Riley, but so far I haven't really liked any of her books. I tried twice. And then I read Quicksilver by Callie Hart. I was in a reading slump and then I picked this up. It took me out of it. Was not expecting anything from this book, and this became one of my top reads of the year. It's a fantasy with romance, it's fae, vampires, everything that I love in a book, it's in this. Enemies to lovers, where they're not really enemies, but like they didn't like each other, but they were forced to work together. It was good. I ate this up. I cannot wait for the second book, and I heard it's also being turned into a movie. I'm so excited. Kingfisher, the romance in this book, was so good. I loved it. I gave this 4.5 stars. And then I read another fantasy, which is When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. This is another favorite of mine. I absolutely loved everything about this book. Like I could not put it down. I was just really in the mood for it. I ate up every single page, and it is a thickie. She has what, like 700 pages? Something like that. There was like a mystery aspect, the FMC in this. She's like an assassin, and the romance was so good and heartbreaking as well. I absolutely love the magic system. It is a little bit confusing also because there is a bunch of like made up fantasy terms in this book that you kind of just like, what are you talking about? And I started to understand it after a while, but I was confused for a minute. That happens in every single fantasy book. So, and then I read Forever After All by Katharina Maura. It is another marriage of convenience trope. Something is wrong with me. I just gravitate toward a book with that like trope. On this one, I don't really remember anything that happened. It says I gave it 3 stars though, so must have been okay. I absolutely forgot everything that happened in this book. I think she like marries him because he needs the money, and he marries her because she's like his brother's best friend, something like that. I don't remember anything about this book, but I gave it 3 stars. And then I read Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mairer. It is the definition of a fun read. It's a fantasy, but it's not really a fantasy. It's more like a good intro to fantasy books. If you want to start reading fantasy books, this is a good like intro to it. This was fun. It was actually pretty funny. Like the banter was everything. Like her thoughts, her inner monologue was funny. It's such a fun read. I think I give this like 4 stars. She's like the assistant to the villain, and I ate this book up. Loved it. And then I read Fragments of You by Melissa Topin. Pretty short. It's on Kindle Unlimited. This is another second chance romance, small town romance. I honestly love this book. The characters felt so real. It's about this couple who broke up and they were like high school sweethearts, but he ends up moving away without really explaining why he left, and she was heartbroken, so his best friend stepped up, fixed her broken heart. So yeah, it's kind of like a love triangle almost. A little bit heartbreaking, but I loved it. And then I read Terms and Conditions by Lauren Asher. This is book 2 of the Dreamland Billionaires series. I love this one. This is a fake dating like trope. He's like a billionaire and she's his assistant, and he had to marry someone to like get his inheritance from his grandparents, so he just picked her. I didn't like the first book with the fine print, but I love this one. This is Declan and Iris's story. So freaking cute. I loved it. And then I read Beach Read by Emily Henry. I already said this before, but I tried reading Beach Read like 2 years ago and I DNF'd it, and I didn't pick it back up till recently, and I ate it up. Like 5 stars. I love January and Gus so much. I just can't believe I DNF'd this 2 years ago. This is one of my top reads of the year. So I ended up picking up more of her books because I was missing out apparently. I read Happy Place. I read this in my first booktube video ever and I loved it. Oh my gosh, I think I might like it more than Beach Read. This is another 5 star. I absolutely ate this book up. I love how her books go from like the past and the present, and you kind of like learn like what happened, because all her books start in like the middle of something and then it just kind of goes back and forth, and I love learning about their backstory and like how it ended. And it was kind of sad. It broke me and then fixed me at the same time. I loved it. And I love the friendship in this one. I think it's gonna be a show, a TV show, so I can't wait for that. And then I read People We Meet on Vacation. I know I'm so late to this book. Everyone already read all her books. I'm just late to the party. Sorry. But I also love this one. Not as much as the other 2. I think I give this one 4 stars. But I still ate it up. Like Alex and Poppy. Poppy and Alex. Love them. I love them. Best friends. Second chance. Friendship. That's even a thing. And then turned romance. I love them. It was also sad. I don't know why, but like the flashback to like the past always makes me sad in her books. I don't know. Maybe I'm just emotional, but yeah. I can't wait for the movie. I also read Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. Guys, I give this book 4 stars. I know a lot of people didn't like it. I personally liked it. The first few 100 pages of this book was a drag, but it's fine. But the ending of this book, girl, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? Because I actually need Onyx Storm like right now. Like I pre-ordered it right after finishing this book. I'm still shook. I literally think about the ending of this book like every now and then. Like it'll pop in my head. Because what the frick? What are we gonna do? I honestly have so many theories. Just don't know what's gonna happen. I love Zayn though. I hope he's the main love interest. Honestly, I don't know what I'm gonna do if he's not. What are we gonna do? And there's like supposed to be like 3-4 more books. What do you mean? I think it comes out the end of January. I'm so excited for Onyx Storm. And then I read The Pumpkin Spice Cafe. I also read this for a reading blog. I actually liked this book. It was like a cute small town romance that gives heavy fall vibes. There wasn't much to it. This girl, she inherits her aunt's coffee shop in this small town, and there's this farmer. It was cute, nothing too crazy, but I ate it up. Some people say it reminds them of Lorelai and Luke from the Gilmore Girls. I see it. I think I give this 3.75 stars. Cute. And then, oh my gosh. And then I read Better Than the Movies and Nothing Like the Movies. I read this for my 24-hour reading challenge, but I love this one. Remember, I was eating this up. So freaking cute. Fake dating. It's such a rom-com book. I love it. And this one, this is a sequel. I didn't enjoy this as much. The first book was really good. I didn't see the need for a second book because they got together and then they end up breaking up, and it kind of shows you like what happened. It's very character driven and it focused more on like what the characters were going through. And Wes, the MMC, he went through a lot, okay? And it was sad. I thought it was sad. But I love both of these books. I think I gave this 4.5 stars and then I gave this one 3.5 stars. But yeah, still really cute. And then I reread Six of Crows. I read this 2 years ago and then I picked it back up to reread because I wanted to finish Crooked Kingdom. I love these books. Honestly, I cannot stop thinking about them. The characters, the crows. I just can't believe it ended the way it did. It's bittersweet. The ending was bittersweet. The ending of this book was heartbreaking, but I still loved it. I didn't track this year because it was a reread. I don't really care to track rereads, but some people do. I think both of these I gave 5 stars. I'll probably think about this duology for the rest of my life. I love Leigh Bardugo. Her writing is so freaking good. I love it. And then I don't have a physical copy of it, but I read The Wrong Bride by Katharina Maura. I gave that book 2 stars. It's another marriage of convenience trope, but I didn't love that one. I think I give it 1.5 stars. That's being generous. Every character annoyed me in that book. Like, it's about this girl, her sister's getting married, but her sister didn't end up showing up to her own wedding, so she ends up stepping up to marry the groom, which is also her best friend that she's had a crush on for a long time. And they get married and then the sister comes back. The sister just keeps coming back. One of my pet peeves is just like an ex or like something from the past who keeps coming back, becoming like the main conflict of the book. That's just like, I hate that. Just go away. Everybody was annoying me. The main characters, side characters, everyone in the book. I also kind of appreciate those books because even though you're like, what is happening? Like, everything is annoying me. It's kind of still like addicting to read. Like, you know, like those type of things, like conflict. Like, it's kind of like watching a house burn or whatever the saying is. Like, you can't look away from it. It's like this building is burning down, but like, I can't look away. You can't do anything but watch, you know? And then, oh my gosh, I read A Not So Meet Cute by Megan Quinn. This is another fake dating one. This was actually pretty funny. Like, this book made me laugh out loud like multiple times. Like, the banter was incredible. Megan Quinn did her thing with this one. The thing with this book, I don't know why, but after like halfway, I started to lose interest because that's kind of like where they got together and they stopped the fake dating thing. And I kind of just lose interest when the couples get together after fake dating. Like, that was the whole point of the book, you know what I mean? So yeah, but I still really enjoyed this book. I think I gave it like 3.5 stars. I'll always eat up the fake dating trope. This was good. And then I read There Are No Saints by Sophie Lark. I thought I would like this because I liked the Brutal Birthright series. I hated this book. I hated it! I hated it. I give this book a 1 star. It just kept getting worse. There's some scenes that I just can't even say out loud because I just really hate it. And I'm not gonna elaborate on that. There's just some things that happen in this book that I just cannot justify. So I'm sorry if you like this book, but it wasn't for me. And I picked up a book that has been on my TBR for a minute now. And it is Addicted to You by Kristen Becker-Ritchie. This is the Addicted Calloway series. This is one of the most popular book series probably of all time. I read the blurb, okay. Like, I knew what I was getting myself into, but I didn't know what to expect. Everybody loves this series. I just didn't get the hype, I think. I know it's supposed to be a hard read because it focuses on addiction and how it affects their relationship. But I was just like cringing the whole time reading this book. Like, her inner dialogue was insane. It was insane. But it was also one of those things, it's a burning house that you can't look away from. So I will be continuing this series though, because everyone says it gets better. So I hope you guys are not lying to me. But I do like the side characters, so. And I also reread one of my favorite book series ever, and it is the Mindf series by S.C. Abbey. If you guys have not read this book, please read it. It is one of my favorites. My first time reading this was like a couple years ago, and I loved it. I loved it so much, and I'm gonna reread this probably every year. So, but this is about a serial killer and an FBI agent. They end up dating, but he doesn't know that she's the serial killer he's been looking for. The main character, Lana Myers, she is absolutely everything to me. Like, I love her so much. She's a baddie. She's a bad bitch. She's that girl, okay? This is a 6-star read for me. And then we have Spark of the Everflame. I read this for a reading vlog. If you guys saw that, you know how much I actually loved the first book, Spark. 4.5 stars I give this book. And then I read the second book, Glow of the Everflame, because the ending of this book was crazy. I was so disappointed in that book. I honestly can't even talk about it anymore. I've already talked so much about this book and how disappointed I was. The main character, she was so annoying. The second book I gave 2 stars, and then the third book is a DNF because of the main character. Like, I love the plot of this series, but the main character is just, I just couldn't put up with her anymore. She just keeps protecting the same people who hates her. I just cannot do it. And then I read Marriage for One by Ella Mays. It's another marriage of convenience trope. He kind of forces her to marry him because she wants to open up a coffee shop and he was gonna help her. I don't know why, I just didn't love this book as much as I thought I would. Reading this book felt like I was reading like a diary. I don't know how to explain it, but that's how I felt. Like, I gave it like 2 stars. And then I read Metal Slinger by Rachel Schneider. I read this for another reading vlog. This book, I loved this book. I think I gave it 4.5 stars. The ending of this book was so crazy. The plot twist was insane. I literally have not stopped talking about this book since I read it. I've not stopped thinking about it either. If you want a little bit more in-depth video on it, I do have a reading blog reading this book. It's like 2 videos down. I need the second book like ASAP. Thanks to Emmy for recommending this book. I absolutely ate this up. And then in the same video, I read My December Darling, which is like a Christmas holiday novella. It was like 250 pages long. So cute. A small town romance, kind of. It's another like reverse Grumpy and Sunshine trope where she's like the grumpy one. And I ate it up. I gave her like 3 stars, but the characters in this book were so relatable. The main character, Kathlina, it's hard for her to like talk about her feelings and stuff. Everything she thought or said was like she was reading into my mind or something. And I also found the MMC so relatable. Like, that is rare. But yeah, and the whole like Lego building thing, I thought that was so freaking cute. I loved it. It was so short and sweet and fun. It's not really just about Christmas. It's more like a winter book. It was cute. I loved it. And then the last book I read in 2024 was another marriage of convenience trope. Who would have thought? And it is The Reluctant Bride by Monica Murphy. I give it 2 stars. It was fine. It was alright. Like, honestly, already forgot about what happened. And I read this recently. It's more like an arranged marriage where they're both forced into this marriage by their families to like merge their families or whatever. It was alright. Like, I already forgot about it. Guys, my camera literally died again and I didn't charge any of my batteries, so I had to wait for it to charge, but we're finally back. Oh my gosh. I forgot, I also read the entire Jujutsu Kaisen mangas. But I read all 30 volumes. I think there's 30 volumes in total. I only have 23 here. I need to buy all of them, but yeah, I forgot to mention that. If you care about mangas, but they're really fun if you want to get into some graphic novels. So yeah, I read all 30, but yeah, I think that was it though. I read other ones online, but I'm not even gonna count those. I need to organize my bookshelf after this. But yeah, those are all the books I read in 2024. I've literally been yapping so much that all my camera died and all the batteries. Hopefully this video isn't too long, but I'm gonna end it here. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, I think I have another one coming up. I might do the tier ranking one if you guys want to see it. I'm gonna link all my Goodreads and Fable and stuff like that so you can see what I'm currently reading, and then link to my book club if you want to join, and all my socials so you can see what I'm up to. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!